Hello, hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. Welcome to my new series called Learning from the Best. Not my works, mind you. I am going to be breaking down my favorites and explain why they deserve to be on a pedestal. Today I'm focusing on villains. How can we write compelling ones, and why are they essential to writing great stories? Without Moriarty, Sherlock Holmes is just a genius with a drug problem. Without the Joker, Batman is someone who dresses up in tights and beats people up. Those are wild oversimplifications, but it's only when the antagonists reach their peak that the protagonists, the heroes, stand out for having to rise to meet those challenges. I would argue that the antagonist in the Wheel of Time series is its weakest point. For the incredible depth of world building and lush character development, they are ultimately going up against the source of evil, sometimes as nothing more than a concept. I think this makes the story worse. Sure, there are plenty of people corrupted by the Dark One, and it's through those interactions that the interesting moments and plot twists take place. The ending funnels down to bland hero versus source of all evil, which caused it to fall flat for me. Based on that introduction, it goes without saying I'm a huge nerd. That means I have a wide array of knowledge across multiple mediums that involve momentous moments that were raised higher thanks to their villains. Here and now, I'm going to convey how the younger Toguro brother from the Yu Hakusho series is one of the best villains of all time. He stands out among all the books I've read, shows I've watched, and games I've played. And through this, we as writers can learn how to create unforgettable villains who will thus raise up our heroes and stories. Major spoilers ahead for Yu Hakusho in 3, 2, 1. First of all, I'm giving a quick rundown on who the younger Toguro brother is for those unfamiliar with the material. We meet him as a hired mercenary for a criminal empire. To us, he is a powerful threat, but doesn't seem to be more than, say, a mid-level boss. Difficult to overcome, yet nothing more than some muscles. He does your basic mid-level checklist to prove he's a villain. He obeys orders to hurt others and kills a demon who's trapped in a cell in order to prove his strength. He does show remorse and apologizes to the demon, claiming that he's only doing what he's told. That's an interesting note, but at this point we don't learn more about the younger Toguro brother because he seems to be defeated by our heroes. Except he faked his death in order to take out the criminal empire from the inside, and then forces the heroes to enter in a tournament which is mostly fights to the death. Over the course of the Dark Tournament, we learn that the younger Toguro brother was once a hero. He then transformed his body into that of a demon and is now an impossible obstacle for the heroes to overcome. This image shows the differences between the physical attributes of the villain, Toguro, and the hero, Yusuke. This is the younger Toguro brother in his base form. He is already physically imposing compared to the hero, yet he becomes much worse. This is Toguro at 100% power. You can see that there is barely anything that resembles a human in that form. And he is exuding so much spiritual pressure that people in the stadiums are dying simply by being so close to him. This brings me to the lessons I learned from Toguro and his role in the story. My first tip to designing villains is to make it personal. Toguro is a perfect foil for our main character. The hero Yusuke is a fighter, ever driven to be stronger, while Toguro is the end result. He is power in physical form, and is everything Yusuke wishes he was. Going back to Batman, his villains are facets or mirror images of himself. The Penguin is the rich side of Bruce Wayne who is manipulating others through money. The Riddler is the detective of Bruce Wayne taken to its extreme. And the Joker is Batman without any morality. And in mentioning the Joker, I'm going to take one quick moment to describe the older Toguro brother because he is just like the Joker. He's an agent of chaos. He tries to cheat to get his younger brother to win his fights. He is immortal and Anytime he shows up, disaster happens. Back to the younger Toguro brother and the focus of this video, he is who Yusuke the hero would have become if he continued down the path of speaking only with his fists. Not only that, but Toguro was a romantic partner to the woman who trained Yusuke. All of the skills, lessons, and techniques Yusuke knows, Toguro already knows how to defeat. Thus, Yusuke needs to take everything he knows and make it his own. Otherwise, he's using antiquated methods which are proven to be ineffective. In summary, the villain Toguro is everything the hero originally wanted to be and has direct ties to one of the few people Yusuke respects. Number 2, give the villain relatable goals. I'm not talking about world domination here. As our understanding of Toguro changes, it got to the point where in some ways, I sympathize with him. Even at his most villainous and bloodthirsty, he had clear-cut goals which were relatable. Toguro started off by appearing to want to face ever greater challenges in order to prove his own strength and worth. Okay, that's some motivation. He is the rock Yusuke needs to bash his head against in order to eventually crumble. I'm using this specific example because there's an emotional moment in the series where Yusuke does exactly that. If that were all that's motivating Toguro, he wouldn't be impressive, and his part in the story would feel like a stepping stone to something greater rather than a peak in the series. Towards the end of this arc, we discover Toguro has been training Yusuke to surpass him. Toguro would never allow himself to be defeated by somebody weaker, so he needs to go out in a blaze of glory through combat by somebody who proves to be stronger. More than that, after being defeated and dying, Toguro chooses his own method of suffering in the afterlife with 10,000 years of purgatory. Toguro's goals were to be defeated by a truly great warrior and then suffer in a hell of his own making. Don't worry, I'll get to the why in a moment. The important thing is whether Toguro won or lost the tournament, he achieved his goals. Either he proves to be an unstoppable force and takes out his former romantic partner's protege, or he dies to a worthy opponent and chooses the method of his own punishment. Next up is number 3, show the villain's depth. Toguro isn't only muscles. That is his greatest asset, yet he demonstrates intelligence. We don't know the full degree to which he planned everything out, yet he clearly moved pieces across the board in order to achieve his goals. In the end, it doesn't matter. Toguro got everything he wanted. He betrayed the people we thought were his bosses at the precise right moment to utterly ruin them. Twice over, actually. One of the few times Toguro's plans don't seem to be working right is when the tournament organizers cheat and arrange the tournament in order to try and kick out the heroes. Toguro then proceeds to slaughter each of the tournament organizers. Along the lines of showing depth, make the villains unique. In the aftermath of Toguro killing those tournament organizers, he's having a conversation with the person we thought was his boss. Except they feel more like partners, or even that Toguro has the upper hand. Amid those dismembered bodies, Toguro asks his partner for an orange juice. YouTuber Super Eyepatch Wolf has a great breakdown video of why this feels so strange and makes Toguro more real. Suffice to say, I assumed he would take a victory glass of wine and drink along with his partner/boss. Instead, the orange juice becomes more than orange juice. It's a human desire. Wine befuddles our brains, lowers our inhibitions, and relaxes us. Orange juice doesn't. I think of it as a breakfast food and to start my day and wake me up. This one moment where Toguro makes a bunch of corpses and then asks for an orange juice while looking at his hands makes him feel like he is more than a punchy villain. And that leads me to my last point. Number 4, turn everything upside down. There is drama and heartbreak and feelings of betrayal, all leading to the final showdown between Yusuke and Toguro. Only after Toguro dies do we discover his emotional backstory. He was once a martial arts instructor who fought demons. While he was away, a demon came in and killed all of his pupils. That caused him to enter the Dark Tournament years before our current story. He won, and as a result, he wished to become a demon. He used this new form and outer coating to shed his humanity. He wanted to feel nothing and never be weak and vulnerable again, so he changed to become like the demon who ruined his life. At the conclusion of the villain's story, this tragic twist recontextualizes everything we thought we knew about him. Toguro is unforgivable and brutal, yet in some ways his actions seem almost understandable. Every person he hurt, every person he killed, It was all meant to alleviate the own guilt he felt for failing to protect those under his care. We misjudged him, and only in the end do we realize he is a fallen hero. And two of the important people we thought he killed, he did so in a way which allowed them to return. This makes him more than a villain and is in some ways heroic, or at least a good anti-hero. During the final showdown, Toguro becomes a full abomination. The ironic part that we learn in his backstory is that years before, he had already given up on his humanity in his quest for revenge and power. Toguro is a tormented soul who sought to bring about its own end at the hands of a worthy foe. He aligned all the pieces and people and steps in order to die in combat at his absolute peak. Toguro betrayed all those who considered him an ally in order to serve his own needs. He is one of the best villains I can think of in fiction, and is the gold standard the likes of which I aim to recreate within my own stories. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. If you enjoy my new series on learning from the best, please press those like and subscribe buttons. Let me know in the comments who your favorite villains are and why. I post my running and writing progress on Instagram and Twitter as Running to Write, so be sure to follow me and join in with your own thoughts. Don't forget to sign up for the Running to Write monthly newsletter for regular updates on all my sword musings, pitfalls, and lessons learned. The link is in the description below. See you next time. Until then, write the villains who challenge our heroes and prove they are worthy.